Hello Internet and welcome to this day in history for the 20th of October. Today, a lot of things have happened because such things of course occur, but specifically we are going back to 1803, as today the United States Senate ratified the Louisiana Purchase. With one stroke and actually fairly low price, managed to double the size of the nascent United States of America. With that, they started getting almost all of Central American continent under their domain. It of course eventually led to the Lewis and Clark expedition, it led to the westward expansion. It also led of course to a certain degree to Manifest Destiny, the destruction of the Indian tribes and the war with Mexico, and of course with that also the expansion of new states, which led to further discussion between slave owners and abolitionists, which had otherwise been papered over since the founding of the nation, thus eventually leading to the Civil War. Since yesterday we talked about Napoleon, we might as well discuss how this purchase even remotely came to pass. Well, you see, it had mostly been under Spain actually for some time. Originally, the Louisiana territory had been in French hands, but ever since the 7 Years' War, Spain had in fact taken over this to combine it with their territories in Florida and their territories further out near the borders of Mexico, sort of around, well, what is today New Mexico, Texas, Arizona, and California. However, after the defeat of the Spanish during one of the early Napoleonic Wars, actually one of the late Wars of the French Revolution, if you want to call it that, France had retaken the area, and of course Napoleon was rather busy and could not spend a lot of time defending that area from the excursions of the British Royal Navy and whatever kind of invasion they might do, and also he needed a bunch of cash to fund his further wars that were obviously going to happen even if Europe at the time was still mostly at peace. So when the Americans came in and said, "We are going to pay you some money for this area," Napoleon and his foreign minister Talleyrand said, "Yes, we think this is a good idea. We can thumb the noses of the British, we don't have to defend it, we can get a cash inflow, and we can reignite the French-American alliance that had so effectively managed to thumb the nose of the British and in fact defeat them in war at a time where we haven't otherwise been able to do that for almost 100 years. And the Americans absolutely thought this was a good idea, so they purchased it and now control the greater part of the central North American continent. Of course, as I already said, this led to the Lewis and Clark expedition. It led to the westward expansion, immediately, of course, into what is today the Midwest, but also later towards the Mississippi. It led to St. Louis becoming a city of grand importance and the gateway to the West, as it is currently known. And of course, it eventually opened the pathway for the United States to support the Texan settlers in the War of Texan Independence and later to defeat the Mexicans in the Mexican War and allow America to expand across the entire continent from sea to shining sea. There were, as I mentioned, bad things about it. It also led to the destruction of especially the Plain Indians culture. But overall, since I consider American influence of the world generally a force for good, if perhaps one that should be used with great care, the Louisiana Purchase was really more than anything else the start of that, and that was today on the 20th of October. So yes, I hope this has been of interest to you. Until next time, I have been the Sage, and I wish you all a very, very happy day.